hello and good morning for some, good afternoon for others, and good evening for the rest of you. This is Phantom, and we are back with some more Footwall, or featuring Owl, or Fitwalla, or For the Ones We Love, as it's more commonly known. Written by Flim Flam Brothers on FIM Fiction. And this is chapter 7. Wow, I didn't think I'd make it this far, honestly. But real quick, I want to say I'm sorry for not putting anything out this week. I had to get some stuff done on my car, and I was working on that most of the week, and so I didn't get around to it till today. But still, this is going to be Chapter 7, the training. Link will be in description, as always, as well as a link to Brad's channel, because he is in every chapter from like now on to like the last chapter. So he's in chapters 5 to 26, or 27, or whatever. In any case, let's get right into it. This is Chapter 7, The Training. We are shaped by our past, a pony once said, forced to relive it so we never forget. Spike blinked his eyes, and the skeletons were gone, vanished in thin air. He rubbed his eyes. Did he see what he saw, or hear what he heard? He feared that maybe Conquest was getting to him, that Dark Pony was driving the dragon mad. The door slowly opened. "Spike?" a friendly voice asked. "It's Duster. Are you awake?" "Yeah, I'm up." Duster walked in the room. He wasn't in his guard armor, and it showed off his light brown fur and a bizarre pink mane. Duster noticed Spike staring at him. "Oh, my mane. I lost a bet a while ago. Long story, not important. You seem tired. You sleep okay?" Spike shook his head. He did feel rather groggy. "Well, you better get it together. After all, once we get you fixed up in medical, it's straight to basic training." "Great. I guess we should head out then." "Eager, are we?" The two headed out of the room. "Just wait till you see who's running the training exercises today." 5 asterisks. Alright. The day before. Applejack groaned as her eyelids slowly peeled open. The world was shifting around her as she tried to get up. She slammed her head against the bottom of a table and fell back to the floor. Ow! She rubbed her hoof to her sandy yellow mane. She felt that something was missing. Her hat was gone. She anxiously looked around the floor to see that it was lying next to a couple of rotting apple cores. The cow pony slowly crawled to her favorite hat, and after brushing off some dust, she placed it back on her head where it belonged. She stumbled as she tried to lift herself up from the floor. Her head felt like it was about to explode. How much did she drink last night? However much it was kicking her flank right now. Applejack carefully made her way to the main room, careful to step over the still sleeping ponies. The library was a huge mess, and even worse than the kitchen. "What the hay happened in here? It's like a manticore." Rainbow Dash came unstuck from the ceiling and landed straight on top of Applejack. "Rainbow, where in the name of the princess did you come from?" "Oh, Soren. Rainbow. Right there, Soren. That's where Mama likes it." Applejack face-huffed. "You've got to be kidding me. Rainbow, wake up." She slapped the Pegasus in her face. Rainbow opened her sleepy eyes. "Hey, Applejack. I was having such a wonderful dream. I think you were in it." Applejack cringed a little. "I don't want to know what goes on in that there head of yours." "Whatever." Rainbow stretched out her body. "Why are my wings all sticky?" "The hey if I know. I've been awake only a little longer than y'all." Rainbow tried to flap her wings. Apparently, the sticky stuff on there had hardened. Well, that's just great." In the back of the room, they heard a shifting of a pile of books. Twilight rose from the mountain of literature. A piece of paper had stuck to the side of her face from drool. She let out a yawn before staring at her two sleepy friends. "Good morning, girls." "How late did we stay up?" "No clue, Sugar Cube. Last night was a bit of a blur." Yeah, tell me about it." "Spiky!" a voice called out. All the ponies looked up the stairs. Rarity made her way down the steps. She seemed well rested. The bags under her eyes had disappeared, and a newfound smile on her face. "Has any pony seen Spike? He left for a bit and hasn't come back yet." "I'm sure Spike is fine. He can't have gotten into that much trouble. He's still injured. He has to take it easy." "I'll check around town." Rainbow started to head towards the door. "He probably went to get some coffees. I know I could use some." "You do that. We'll check around the house." "Please bring him back if you find him." Twilight gathered everyone in the middle of the library. "All right, every pony. We know he's not in the kitchen or upstairs, so where could he be?" "I don't know. His bedroom?
Of course! His bedroom, it's so obvious!
Twilight charged towards the room, the other two slowly following behind her. Twilight opened the door to Spike's room and saw a lump on the bed. Rarity jumped on the bed.
Oh, Spike, why didn't you tell me you wanted to move things into the bedroom?
She removed the cover and gave the being under it a kiss. Fluttershy's eyes shot open from the feeling of Rarity's warm, wet lips against hers.
Not in my mouth! Don't put things in my mouth!
She tumbled out of bed and quickly ran out the room. The broom closet was still open, and the vibration of the screaming caused a certain cleaning instrument to fall out of the closet.
Broom handle!
Seeing it, she jumped out the window and towards her cottage. All the ponies just stood there, baffled at what they'd just witnessed.
What in the name of hayseeds was that? What was that about a broomstick? And what was she doing in Spike's bed?
Wondered Rarity as she tried to spit the taste of mare out of her mouth.
You don't think... Rarity, I don't think Spike would cheat on you with Fluttershy right after proclaiming his love for you.
Applejack looked to the ground, picking up a slightly damp letter.
What's this here?
Rarity looked at the letter with anticipation.
Maybe it's from Spike,
she hoped.
Hold your horses there. I'll read it.
She opened the letter and began to read aloud.
To Twilight. I've been requested by the princesses to come to the castle for urgent business. I'm sorry that I can't tell you this myself, but it seems like an emergency. I will try and write back to you as soon as I can, but I ask that you do not follow me to Canterlot, as I fear that you are all in great danger. You aren't even supposed to know that anything is wrong, but I can't just leave every pony like this. Twilight, I will hopefully be back soon, but if I'm not back later today, then something is wrong, and I'll be staying a little longer than expected. If this is the case of Twilight, I want you to tell Rarity that I love her, and that this is the last thing I wanted to do, but I was given little choice from your brother. Hope to see y'all soon. Spike. P.S. I'm sorry, Rarity. It's not fair! I was finally happy! We were finally happy!
Twilight put a sympathetic hoof on Rarity's shoulder.
I know how you feel, Rarity. This is the last thing that any of us wanted. My Spiky Wikey shouldn't be put in danger. He should be here with me. I've waited so long, Twilight.
The white mare started to cry again.
Hey, don't be sad. Remember, he's going to ride us back as soon as possible, I reckon.
Rarity started to calm down a bit.
I suppose you're right. That's a spare sugar cube. Now come on, I reckon all of you are mite hungry, so what do you say I whip up some apple pancakes?
Rarity immediately broke down into a fit.
Spike used to make pancakes.
She cried and wallowed in a puddle of her own tears.
This is gonna be a long wait.
And it is 5 asterisks. Give me 10 more push-ups, you overgrown iguana! Yelled Kerfuff at Spike. He was in the courtyard of the castle with about 30 other pony recruits running training exercises. All around him he heard groans, grunts, and cries of ponies as they suffered through their training. Spike groaned along with them. Of all the ponies in Equestria, he cursed under his breath. What was that, maggot? You got something to say to me? Yeah, brush your teeth. Oh, looky here, men, shouted the loud pony to all other ponies within earshot. We got ourselves a comedian. He looked back at Spike. Just for that remark, it's an extra 10 miles on every pony's run, courtesy of the comedian over here. A wave of whimpers echoed through the courtyard as every pony got up and started running down the field. Spike got up and was about to join them when Curvehoof stopped him. Not you, Dragon. The princesses wanted you to take breaks until you had full health. Really? 'Cause I feel fine. The doctors here are a lot better than the ones at Ponyville. I wasn't asking you. It was an order. The guard pony started to walk away, and Spike walked towards a nearby bench. Jackass. He took a seat on the bench. His body was aching ever since he had gotten out of medical. He had been forced to the fields on Canterlot to undergo rigorous training and physical exhaustion. He couldn't help but close his eyes, just for a few seconds. 5 asterisks. Yep, 5 asterisks. Moving on. Spike woke up in the darkness of the shadows, of course. It wasn't as frightening this time, and he knew that a certain psychotic pony was lurking somewhere in the unending darkness. He drifted mindlessly in the darkness, waiting for Conquest to make some sort of grand entrance, to appear in a flash of light, or emerge from the shadows, something like that. But it remained silent. "What game are you playing at?" His voice echoed in the darkness, still nothing. He continued to walk into the black fog. The hazy gray and black was getting darker and darker with each step he took. The silence was broken by a gentle humming of a stallion. Spike followed the strangely alluring tone, making a pathway through the darkness, until he came upon a decorative pool, the glittering blue water contrasting the bleakness of the shadows. The black alicorn had his back to Spike, and he didn't seem to notice him. Conquest was relaxing in the water, happily singing to himself.
Daisies, daisies, give me your heart today. Otherwise I'll rip it out and take it anyway. Its beating is a pitter-patter as I serve it on a silver platter, garnished with the finest hors d'oeuvres.
He moaned with a sense of pleasure as he sunk a little deeper in the water.
Honey, honey, made with the finest wine. My love for you is to abuse, the queen of parasites.
Bubbles started to form in the pool as a dark head breached the water. Her turquoise blue hair was washed over her face, a long decaying-looking horn sticking out from underneath the mess of wet hair. She flicked her hair out of her face. It slapped down on her sides, revealing her plasma-green eyes. Conquest smiled at the creature.
My, Chrysalis, I had no idea you could hold your breath for that long.
You're such a naughty little pony, and I love that about you.
She crawled on top of his lap and nuzzled him. Her eyes darted toward Spike.
Conquest, were you expecting company?
Conquest looked at her strangely, before turning around and noticing Spike's presence. His eyes looked slightly surprised, but was quickly covered up by his wicked grin.
Spike! So nice of you to drop by uninvited.
Spike just stared at the two. Sorry. I didn't exactly choose to come here. The couple just started to laugh as Queen Chrysalis resumed kissing the dark alicorn. I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Oh no, Spike. Chrysalis was just about to finish.
She gave a wicked cackle.
Oh, behave, Conquest.
She lifted herself off of Conquest and sat beside him, wrapping his hoof around her as she snuggled up to the dark alicorn.
I never behave, especially with you.
He grinned, lifting up the queen's face and sticking out his shadowy tongue. She stuck out her pin tongue as they wrapped their tongues around each other, giving cries of pleasure, as her saliva mixed with his shadowy drool. Spike watched uncomfortably from the side. I think I'll leave now. He turned around and quickly walked away from the two blissful creatures. He tried to navigate through the thick fog, but it was difficult to see through the black clouds. He stepped through the clouds and fell face first into a pool of water. He emerged, spitting out water. He noticed that Conquest and Chrysalis were sitting on the other side of the pool, her head resting on his chest as they both stared back at him.
Back so soon?
He stroked a hoof through Chrysalis's hair. The queen purred as the pony's hoof slid through her blue mane.
So how are you, Spike? Still a slave for that infernal Twilight?
I'm not her slave.
Keep telling yourself that. Also, I haven't been able to thank her properly for all her help at the wedding.
Patience, my queen. Remember, as long as your changelings fight for me, I will make sure that the one called Twilight Sparkle is served to you on a silver platter.
Oh, Conquest, you treat me so well.
Spike was wheezing smoke out of his nose. Don't you touch a hair on her head! Spike slammed his fist into the water. Conquest sarcastically rolled his eyes.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Now, if you would excuse us, Chrysalis and I have to finish bonding our alliances.
He pulled the Queen of Changelings back on top of him.
So, I was thinking of penetrating the southern walls of the kingdom.
Is that your battle plan?
She slid closer to the dark pony. Conquest gave one of his famous razor-sharp smiles.
Of course not.
Spike felt like he was going to vomit. I'm still here!
Then go away!
Go where?
The same place Chrysalis is going. Down, down, down.
Suddenly, Spike felt his body getting pulled under the water by an unknown force. He was whisked around, smashing up against rocks as he tried to desperately hold his breath, as he sunk into the darkness of the water. 5 asterisks! And moving on. Spike woke up lying on the floor and drenched in sweat. or what had just happened, he had no idea, but these visits to that world were going to drive him crazy if they didn't stop soon. But what had disturbed him was the whole scene with the pool, and how Queen Chrysalis had officially entered the war. He dragged his claws down his face, as he did when he was stressed out. To make matters worse, he saw his favorite pony heading in his direction.
Breaks over, maggot! Report to the Pegasi for flight maneuver training immediately.
Yeah. He started heading off. The guard ponies just stared angrily at the dragon as he walked away.
He is pretty amazing, isn't he?
A voice said behind him. Curbhoof turned around to see Princess Luna standing behind him.
Princess Luna.
The startled pony gasped, quickly bowing to one hoof. Luna shook her head at the gesture.
Rise, Curbhoof. There is no need to be so formal.
The guard rose back to a standing position.
So tell me, how was our newest recruit?
Making fast progress, Princess. He has managed to break all the former records in every field, and he'll be done with basic training by the end of the week.
The princess nodded as she looked away from him, staring off into the sky. She saw Spike soaring with the Pegasi, winding tightly through obstacles with speed and grace. She let a loving sigh slip out.
He's magnificent.
Excuse me?
Asked Curbhoof, who had overheard the princess. Her face quickly became a shade of red.
Nothing.
She strutted away in a hurry, leaving the confused guard pony standing all alone. 5 Astraces again. Wow, there's a lot of scene breaks. Alright, let's do it. The day was long and tiresome, and it left Spike physically and mentally exhausted. He slowly walked into his room and fell onto his bed, his body begging him to fall asleep. But sleep wouldn't come. He lay there, lifeless, thinking of his day. He had been given compliments by most of his commanders. Well, except Curbhoof, who had clearly had something against him. Can I really do this? He thought, doubt taking over his mind. Sure, he had excelled in training, but could he actually take on Conquest? And now Chrysalis was in the picture, and with the two of them together, winning seemed impossible. It really is hopeless. The thought kept popping up in his head. No, I have to. He had to. Every pony was counting on him. Applejack, Rainbow, Pinky, Fluttershy, Twilight, Rarity. For her alone he would do this. Even if he had to die 1,000 deaths, he'd do it to protect her. He missed her so very much. He couldn't even remember when the last time the two of them had been apart for this long. Maybe after this, things could go back to normal, and life would let them finally be together.
Spike!
Spike rolled over to see who it was. The all-too-familiar Dark Alicorn was standing at the door, and for once he did not have a stupid grin on his face.
We need to have a little talk.
Oh, can we not do this? I'm really frickin' tired. Conquest jumped in the air and shot down at Spike with hypersonic speed, landing on the dragon's back with a spine-breaking impact. Spike squealed as he felt his bones snap under the pressure of the alicorn.
You don't get to choose when we do this, dragon. I need to have a little chat with you.
He flapped his wings, and with every flap, a thick smoke formed in the air, and soon the entire room had disappeared into the darkness of the fog. Conquest lifted up Spike by the neck, squeezing him with his shadowy magic.
Listen, you overgrown newt. I don't know what that crap was with you appearing in my world, but if you do that again, especially when I'm bucking, I will feed you your own heart on a silver platter.
Like in your song? The alicorn's crimson eyes glowed with intensity, not amused by the dragon's joke. He reared his back and slammed it in Spike's face. There was a flash of white as Conquest was bounced back from Spike. The golden necklace that had protected him last time Conquest tried to kill him had materialized around his neck. Conquest got up from the ground. The anger was still in his eyes.
I hate that stupid thing! It makes me want to just...
He turned around and conjured up a cloud of smoke, which quickly hardened into a large stone block. Conquest then proceeded to grab the block with his teeth, tearing off chunks with it with his mighty sharp fangs. He did this until there was nothing left but a large pile of rubble. The dragon watched in terror as he spat out the last rock.
Pretend that rock is you!
Spike remained silent, just staring at the pony.
Oh, who am I kidding? I can't stay mad at you! Come here, you!
He gave Spike a large hug, squeezing the life out of him. The necklace started to flicker again, and Conquest backed off.
So, Spiky, what do you think of my new plaything?
What?
Chrysalis! She's great! Isn't she just great? I mean, look at her! Sexy eyes, hot body, a flank that I just want to plow all night long.
he said, doing pelvic thrusts on that last fact.
Plus, she has those holes in her hooves, which makes it a lot easier to...
I don't get it.
Well, first she spits in the hole, and then she slides it on my...
Not that! I mean you and the queen. You go on about hating love, and then you get a mare friend. What's up with that?
Oh, that. Lust is what that is, dragon, not love.
He started to smile again.
Love is fake, and nothing but pain and betrayal. Lust is real. It's pleasure and satisfaction.
But she feeds on love.
Which she can't get from me. She doesn't control me, either. Rather, I control her. A great relationship, if I do say so myself.
He looked at the dragon, who remained silent.
You're so serious all the time. It's boring.
He grew bright and unnaturally cheery.
Hey, I know what'll get you to lighten up. If I continue my story.
Oh, please don't.
Too late, I already started. Now, we had just entered town, and we were having a hard time finding Luna.
5 astraces. Luna! Luna! Called Celestia as she, Curator, and Symphony had entered the town. Ponies of all races were busy rushing around, shopping for food and other items of interest. Luna! Where are you?
Probably hiding somewhere. You know how she is.
Don't remind me. She turned around to face Curator. I honestly don't know how she can be so immature all the time. Celestia continued to rant about Luna, unaware of a little dark blue alicorn with pigtails sneaking up behind her. Luna quietly fluttered into the air and summoned up a dark rain cloud. She floated above her distracted sister and arched up her back. With one swift movement, she stomped down in the cloud, a bolt of lightning shooting out and striking Celestia on her flank. The white alicorn shrieked as she reared up from the shock. Luna fell in the cloud with a fit of laughter.
I got you, CC!
She cried, sticking her head out through the bottom of the cloud. Luna! What was that for?
'Cause you're stupid!
The little alicorn giggled, sticking her tongue out at her sister. She looked towards her brother, and a new pink unicorn.
Who's that?
She's Symphony.
He stared dreamily at the candy-colored mare.
Sweet Symphony.
Hello, dear.
Greeted Symphony, giving out a friendly hoof.
You must be little Luna. Curator has told me all about you.
Luna just stared at the mare's hoof before sticking her head back into the cloud, hiding in the dark fluff.
Sorry about that. She can be a little timid sometimes when meeting new ponies.
Symphony just smiled.
Well, I think she's adorable. Anyways, I gotta get going. It was nice meeting all you.
She started to walk away. Curator couldn't take his eyes off the pony. Everything about her seemed perfect. Her eyes, her hair, her smile, everything. To think that he'd lived in this town all this time and never noticed her. He couldn't let her go. Not without at least trying.
Hey, Symphony.
He kicked up some dirt as he stared at his hooves.
Yes?
She looked back at the red mane alicorn.
I was wondering if you ever wanted to pick flowers again, I could come with you.
His face was quickly turning redder than his mane.
To protect you, of course, not like a date or anything.
He laughed nervously, hoping he didn't sound like a complete idiot. The unicorn smiled.
That would be lovely. But on one condition.
What's that?
As long as it is a date.
She winked at him and continued on her way. Curator was stunned. His heart may have stopped beating as Sweet Symphony walked away. Did she just wink at him? What was that supposed to mean? Were they dating now? This was all new to him as thoughts raced in his head. Luna poked her head out of the thundercloud.
What was that all about?
I think I just asked a pony out.
Celestia rolled her eyes. Well, she did most of the asking.
Curator and Symphony sitting in a tree. KISSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssss
add more when they kiss longer.
The two sisters laughed as her brother just stood there, lost in his thoughts. All he was able to think about was Symphony. And again, 5 more astraces. Jesus, that's a lot. There's a lot of astraces there. It's a lot of scene breaks in a single chapter. Moving on.
That was the first time I ever felt love.
He managed to make a table and chair for him and Spike to sit down at.
He looked across to the dragon, who was listening idly to his story.
Spike, have you ever been in love?
Yeah. He was thinking about the white mare he loved, and how worried she must be right now.
Right, the little white mare. The ever so divine and prim Rarity. I wonder what she would have to say about true love.
The grin on his face grew bigger and bigger as devilish thoughts developed in his mind.
Let's ask her.
Conquest flicked his hoof, and a crude wooden marionette puppet formed in his hoof. He strung the puppet down. It hung down limply. It almost looked like it was crying. Spike? A voice weakly whispered. The puppet looked up. It was Rarity, who had been shrunk down to miniature size. Help me. What did you do? He tried to lift himself up from the chair, but felt stuck, like something was holding him down. Conquest ignored him, far too interested in his new puppet.
Oh, Rarity.
He chuckled as he forced the pony to dance.
Look at you. You've got all these strings to hold you up, to make you dance, to make you hop. Love is like the strings on thee, glad there's no strings on me, da da da.
He laughed as the dragon scowled at him, trying to get off the chair.
You see, dragon, love is like the strings on a puppet. I can use the strings to control whatever the puppet does. I can make it do what I want, when I want, and the poor puppet isn't able to do crap about it. And when I feel no more love for the puppet...
He lifted up a glowing blade of magic with his hoof and slashed the strings, the Rarity puppet falling lifelessly on the table.
I can just snip the strings, and she falls lifelessly down, used and broken. It's such a terribly beautiful thing, is it not?
You're crazy! You're basing everything on one bad experience! The Dark Alicorn thought about what the dragon had said, pondering it in his thoughts.
You know what, Spike? You're right. I think I may have just overreacted.
Wait, really? He didn't hear any sarcasm in the Alicorn's voice. Conquest nodded as he got up from the table to walk around.
No, it's true.
He started to cry. Dark Conquest was actually crying.
Oh God, all the ponies I killed, the creatures I've slain, I'm a monster.
He dived in Spike's arms and continued to cry.
Spike, the things I've done.
Hey, it'll be alright.
No, it won't. I'm beyond help.
No, you're not. No pony is.
It's just that I miss her so much. Why would Symphony do that to me?
I don't know what she did, but you have to move on. It's the only way to start the healing process. Conquest let go of Spike and turned around, facing the ever-stretching darkness.
You know, I guess I sort of knew a bit inside. A small piece of me would always say, "This is wrong. Why are you doing this? What happened to Curator?"
Really? He had hoped he helped the Alicorn.
Yeah.
He snapped his head around, that infamous, deranged smile and wide eyes plastered on his face.
But I can't hear it anymore because there's a much louder voice screaming, "Kill all ponies!" I can't believe you fell for that. Like I'd actually take advice from you, you stupid bucking dragon.
He continued to laugh, slamming his head against the table with thunderous laughter. But I thought...
You thought what I wanted you to think.
He showed no signs of calming down.
Ponies will manipulate you, Spike, so try and sift the dirt from the crap, although they're the same color.
Spike just growled at him, the heat growing in his belly. He had enough of this pony. I am going to kill you, you psychotic freak! Conquest disappeared in a puff of smoke. His laughter was slowly fading. Spike felt himself being lifted up from the chair, unable to control his own limbs. He heard a snicker behind him.
Oh, Spike.
The dragon looked around. A giant Conquest was smiling at him, his fangs as big as Spike. He was holding up puppet strings that were attached to the dragon.
It's been a long day. I was plowing Chrysalis for who knows how long, and I still make a selfless effort to visit you, and this is the thanks I get? I think it's time to cut the strings.
Spike watched as Conquest formed another aura blade and slashed the strings that held him up. Spike collapsed to the floor, unable to move his arms or his legs. He groaned as the weakness washed through his body, and he slowly closed his eyes. 5 more Astraces!
Spike woke up lying in his own bed. He slowly got up and looked out the window. It was still late and the moon was still high in the sky. He groaned as he rolled over. He felt so stupid for letting Conquest trick him like that. Now more than ever he knew what he had to do. He was going to kill Conquest. A horrible pony like him didn't deserve to live. He was a rabid dog that had to be put down, and he was going to do it. There was a knock at the door. Spike? A familiar voice asked. Are you still awake? Yeah, Duster. Is there something I can help you with? The pink main guard walked in the room. He seemed tired. Sorry to disturb you, but the princesses wanted to see you immediately. The drake whined a little as he got up. It had been a long day, and he wanted to fall asleep without some demonic pony trying to teach him life lessons with puppets. The two slowly walked down the long hallways. They eventually came to the throne room, but they kept walking by it. Aren't we meeting the princesses? You are, but not in there. Okay. They kept walking and turned down a corridor Spike was unfamiliar with. They eventually came to a large dark blue door. This is it. She's waiting for you inside, Duster said before turning around and leaving. Spike stared at the mysterious door and eventually entered it. The room was dark, and he was unable to identify anything in it. He prayed to Luna that he hadn't fallen asleep again. The door slammed shut behind him. Luna was leaning against the frame.
Hello, Spike.
Princess, you wanted to see me?
Yes, I did.
Her horn lit up, a missile of magic shooting out and hitting the ceiling, lighting the room. Spike looked around the now lit-up room. The walls were aligned with shelves of books and drawings of stars, with a large telescope by the window. The observatory? He looked around to see a navy blue dresser and a princess-sized bed in the middle of the room. This was Luna's bedroom.
Do you like my room? I had it personally designed.
It seems nice. Is there a reason I'm here? The princess gave a sultry smile to the dragon, whose heart was racing as Luna started to advance on him. His temperature raised and his body felt sweaty as he backed away from the night blue mare. She flooded her eyes.
You're so cute when you're nervous.
She grinned, pushing the dragon on the bed and climbing on top of him. I must be dreaming, the dragon said, hoping he was right, that this was all just another one of Conquest's jokes.
Maybe. And your dream is about to come true,
she said as she pressed up against Spike's lips and gave him a long, passionate kiss. Ho ho! Things are heating up now! In any case, that was Chapter 7 of For the Ones We Love, the training. Chapter 7, the training of For the Ones We Love, or Footowl, or Featuring Owl, or Flowl, or whatever you want to call it, or For the Ones We Love as it's known as. So, if you want to check out the rest of the story, or follow along as I read, whatever you want to do, link will be in the description, as well as a link to Brad's channel, who has done many voices on this, and will continue to do voices in the future. That being said, thank you all for listening. If you liked it, go ahead and leave a like, show that support, leave a comment down in the description of what you liked about it, what you want me to improve on, yada yada yada, or what you want me to read next. Because right now this is the only story I have for MLP. If you want me to read something else, in the meantime, in any case, thank you all for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next reading. Peace.